So I'm about to approach a shot that is not a chip shot. It's not a full swing. It's kind of, we call it a pitch shot. It's kind of between 40 to 50 yards. It's a really, really awkward distance. And we've all, me included, been a bit nervous over these ones. How do you get consistent contact? How do you judge distance control? How do you make sure that this isn't a source of nerves, but actually an opportunity like the best players do, so we can get it maybe up and down from here? Imagine that. In this video, I want to share with you a wonderful drill that one of my mentors gave me that completely transformed my consistency in this area. I had to adapt it slightly to some of my students who had some slice tendencies in their swing, but I promise you, the simplicity of the drill makes the pitching feel a lot more effortless and, more importantly, repeatable. And when you have a repeatable motion, you have a repeatable strike, and then with some practice, you then build that confidence up and you start enjoying these. I'd love to share it with you in this video. But before I do, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first lessons of mine, please consider subscribing. I release videos just like this one every single week to try and help you improve your game. Plus, you never have to remember a thing. Everything I do here, I'll put into a free downloadable practice guide, and I'll pin it to the top comment below this video. So if you watch these great players on TV, don't they make the shot look so easy, so effortless? Their bodies look as if it's just beautifully coordinated and flowing. But yet you might find that yours feels jerky, and I'm like jabbing at the ground one minute, fattening it, thinning it the next. It just isn't smooth. And how are they doing it? Well, they're doing three things that I'd love to share with you in this video. The third thing, by the way, is something I didn't even know. And a good friend of mine, Joe Mayo, shared it with me, and it's game changing for your pitching. So I can't wait to share it with you. But the first thing, what gives them this kind of consistency of strike and distance control? Well, they need a very calm motion. This is the ultimate goal in pitching. Everything is about controlling strike and distance. So we don't want any violent motions. One of the key things, and this is the first thing I want you to look at in your golf swing, the lower body and the upper body are stacked on top of each other pretty much for the entire swing, back into impact here and through. This is the first step of creating calmness and stillness and consistency. Now, if you happen to be in the hook family or the slice family, you're going to be slightly different. We tend to bring some of our full game mechanics into the short game. For those of you who are in the hook family, that'll be me sometimes, your tendency would be to probably drive the lower body too much early in the downswing. Now you get misaligned. Do you think that's going to create smoothness? No. We're going to have to catch up with our hands. Great for speed potentially in the long game, terrible for pitching. If you slice the golf ball, the opposite's true. You tend to be the over the toppers. So look what happens now. Your lower body goes the other way and your upper body goes over the top. Now what you're going to have to do? Well, now we're heading in the wrong direction. You might have to move your arms to try and correct it. Again, is that going to create smoothness? No. So we need to be really good at being aware where our bodies are in space. We want them stacked on top of one another here. So when I'm setting up here, club width apart, 2 club widths apart, ball position, maybe forward if I want a high shot, back if I want a low shot, but I want these bodies stacked on top of one another here. And then when we're swinging, we want to, in a sense, try to maintain that stack all the way through. And with a recent student of mine, Spence, this week, who was a slicer in his long game, he had some of those kind of faults coming into his kind of short game. I got him to imagine almost like his lead side is like a stake in the ground. And I actually got him to use his trail foot here to prop that stake upwards. Because what was happening is even though he understood this, his long game swing, which would be to spin out and over the top, the legs would go this way. Now he would create this kind of jab on the ground to kind of strike it. I didn't want him to do that. I wanted to keep that smoothness. So I got him to prop up the lower body and the upper body on top of one another here and start to make swings. He felt a little bit restricted, but look at the difference. I'm keeping the lower body underneath the upper to make sure that I land the club in the correct spot every time. So if you're in the slice family, that would be a really good place to start. So that is stage one. Make sure your bodies are nice and stacked on top of one another to start with, and then kind of maintain that through the swing. Nice. Now it's interesting there. Can you see here? I've hit a pretty good shot there. But can you see that I've kind of created quite a big divot? And that's not necessarily going to give me consistent distance control time and time again. I got away with that a little bit there. But that would be, again, one of my own personal faults. And this is where rhythm, which is step 2, comes into actually the motion. When you're playing a shot like this, we want to be able to control not just where the club lands, i.e. keep these dots on top of one another like this. What we want to be able to do is create a beautiful tick-tock rhythm. Now, if I look back at my last swing there, I really felt a little bit of a drive here with my hands. I'm going almost downwards a little bit too much, and that's what got me going too far under the ground. Again, I see this a lot with people who kind of struggle with inconsistent contact. Now, again, think of the best players, make it look effortless. How do they do this? They don't have jerks like this, they have rhythm. So imagine this, big grandfather clock, tick, tock, tick, tock. But this is the important bit. The butt of the club is going upwards. Tick, tock, tick, tock. So as the club goes down, the butt goes up. Really important. Now notice this. This is what's going to help you control your depth. As the club comes down, we don't go down with it. We are counterbalancing this club. Now, you don't have to stand up, but you certainly don't want to go down. So almost you can either maintain your height, or I certainly like the sensation of just standing up a little bit here. As the club's going down, this is the pattern of motion that we're after. And this is, can you see how effortless and natural that looks compared to everything going this way? Again, we're starting to form now this effortless look that you see with these best players. So we get ourselves set here. We're keeping those bodies stacked on top of one another here, yeah? For the slices, you're going to really feel like you're keeping that back pocket pushed forward. Don't let that right leg start to bend here. Keep it kind of locked out a little bit here, keeping that underneath your torso. And as I'm coming down now, I'm allowing myself here to let the club just fall under gravity. As it's falling, look, tick, tick, tock. I am feeling like I'm standing up through the shot, okay? Let's have a look at this in action. There we go. Oh, almost into the hole. Almost in the hole. So you see a gentle right, and you see a very, very, very shallow divot compared to my last one, okay? So this is a rhythm that I really want you to get a feeling of. And it's like all things, rhythm and timing are something that we practice and work on. But this is a pattern of motion. As the club's dropping, you'll feel it's just the most natural thing in the world to just avoid going down with it. We're kind of counterbalancing this club. And this is, again, part of the rhythm. So third thing, this was a game changer. Joe Mayo gave me this one, absolutely amazing. I wasn't aware of this, but it completely gave me a very different perspective on pitching and even, you know, many, many shots. Great pitchers, get this, they often start with their face slightly open. But at the moment of impact, that club face is closing. This is a pattern of movement. Starts open, moves to closed. Starts open, moves to closed. If you're in the draw hook family like I would be more like this. Drag, very late hit, no control. No control of my strike and my distance control. Slices tend to be flickers. Yeah, like this. Getting elbows. Notice what I'm doing here, look. My thumbs are working down. Why is this useful? Well, now what I'm doing is as the thumbs go down towards the ground, the face is closing, I'm allowing gravity of the club to fall down to the ground. So when you start with a face that's slightly open, and then allow gravity to work to let those thumbs point down towards the ground, what you're doing here is you're giving time and making it so easy and natural for the club face to close down through impact. So many of my students, because they're bringing out, I've got a 60-degree wedge here, are often trying to hold loft on the club like this, try to lift it up in the air. But the best players, they're actually taking loft off the golf club. Does that make sense? It's very, very counterintuitive, isn't it? They're taking loft off the golf club through the impact area. Now, watch this. As I'm doing this, notice how as I'm letting this club just fall down to the ground and close, my body then calmly goes with the motion. You can see now how we get this effortless motion. If I just let my arms go down and didn't move, it would shut down like this and I'd look flicky. But as I'm allowing the club face to close, I am now literally allowing my body look to then close with the club. So everything's beautifully working together. You see how it all starts to blend now. They're stacked on top of one another. The rhythm, tick, tock. And now we don't want trying to get the club up in the air. We let the club naturally close because it's now working with the body, and you start to see that kind of effortless motion, all working beautifully in harmony. So let's have a look at this in action. So I'll get myself set here. Again, ball. I'm gonna play mid-trajectory shot here. Start with my club face slightly open, yeah? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna imagine this club just beautifully closing down through that impact area. Not by me doing this, just by the natural, my thumbs pointing towards the ground, and then I'm picking up that turn on the way through. Oh, look at this. Beautiful. Come on, almost another one in there. Simple as that. So, like all things, when I'm pitching, do you know what? Maybe even on that one there. Still pretty good, isn't it? My timing wasn't right. Sometimes I get a little bit here, then the hands come in a little bit too late. This would be typical of someone like myself who would be in the hook family. So I have to practice all of the timing where my body, everything's working right beautifully to impact together and through. That's timing. If you're in the slice family, you're going to avoid this, right? So you have too much twist in your game. You need to make sure that these legs stay stacked underneath, and then you need to time this. And the timing comes through practice. But once you get it, you start to have this effortless, coordinated motion. And that's all they do when they make it look easy. Everything is just coordinated beautifully together. I would love for you to have that, okay? But this, by the way, letting that club just close down and then go with it, that for me, beautiful, game changer. Thank you, Joe Mayo. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you know somebody who's struggling with their pitching, please share this video. And if you haven't already, make sure you press that subscribe button. And if you'd like more personalized advice from myself to help you with your game, head on over to DannyMaude.com. I'll put all the details in the description below. Remember, you can download a free practice guide by I'll pin it to the top comment below this video, or just scan a QR code somewhere on this page. But until next week, have a wonderful golfing week.